Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of Corona's Corner. It's your host, Junior Corona, and I'm here by myself today, just doing a solo pod. You know what I mean? I'm not going to be able to book a, air quotes, book a guest every single week, but I'll try my best, you know what I mean? So, again, apologies for not putting out a podcast last week. I just stumbled across some interesting shit, and I want to do some research on it before I hop on the airwaves and sound like an idiot talking about something I have no idea what the fuck I'm talking about. Yeah, man. So, I was looking at my news feed the other day, last week. It was like around, I want to say it was Monday, when I came across this article about the moon around Jupiter, one of the moons around, one of the moons around Saturn, called Europa, which we've known for many years has the potential to have water underneath its surface because it's completely frozen over. It's just a big ball of ice, basically. But, it came into the news or whatever that we might be sending a probe out there to test the water because back as far as 1995, we've noticed that there were some geyser activity. They called it water plumes spewing out of the moon. And that's one of the places where they think potentially could sustain life out there in space, for the simple fact that it has water underneath its ice surface. Not that it would be an ideal place to live, because like I was saying earlier, the whole shit's just a big fucking ball of ice, But anyway, from 95 to 2003, we've had a mission, go out there, observe Saturn and the different moons around it, and that's when we discovered that this moon had water on it. And then in 1997, during a close flyby of the icy moon in 97, that's when they really discovered that they had water plumes spewing out of there. So, I saved you some of the boring stuff in the article that I was reading, but basically what it's saying is that we have to get it ran through Congress and make sure it's okay for us to, spend all that money to fly out there and investigate and all that. But they're planning on building a kind of like a satellite, satellite of sorts, to go out there and fly around the moon, that moon called Europa, about 45 times or so, and see if it can collect any particles of the plumes spewing out and take some real hard evidence of the plumes themselves as it's bursting. And they're calling it a plume, but from the images that I've seen, it's basically like a geyser. It's not a full force geyser like you see in like Yellowstone, but it's along those lines. It just looks like like I said, just a geyser just spewing out the fucking ground. And if it gets approved by Congress, we could be fucking flying over there. Not people, obviously, but they will be sending a satellite out there to investigate and see if we can somehow get some of the samples of that water to bring it back to Earth so we could test it to see if it's, potentially water that we could drink, to see if it could harm us in any way, see if we could, live off of it, see if it's not necessarily healthy in the sense of making you bigger, faster, stronger, but healthy in the sense of it being able to be drank without any negative side effects. Make sure it doesn't got no arsenic or no other crazy chemicals in that water that we won't know about. Because hell, we don't go to other planets. We just fucking stay on Earth. But that's fucking pretty cool, my nigga. Like, I was reading this shit and it's just kind of mind blowing, the different things that us as humans are able to do right now, man. It's a pretty exciting time to live. And then to piggyback off of that, I am going to butcher the name out of this moon. It's another moon around Saturn that could potentially sustain life on it. It is one of the smallest moons that Saturn has. I could be mistaken, but I believe it is the smallest. And from what I was reading, you could fit the whole moon inside the borders of the state of Arizona. So that goes, that's kind of to lend toward how small this moon is, you know what I mean? But they're saying that this could potentially be a place where people could live because this is another moon that has water underneath its surface. Not like some water fragments and nothing like that. There's some legit water down there. And it's pretty cool, my nigga, because from what I was reading and stuff like that, the southern pole of this moon is a warm spot. It's kind of like a nice hotbed where it could be sustainable for life. And this is another moon that has full-fledged geysers, like some fucking Yellowstone, Old Faithful, fucking, you know what I mean, spewing the fuck out. And they're gonna, excuse me, they're gonna be running see if they could run a mission out there to try to collect that water also, to potentially test that water for the same reasons that they're gonna test the water if they can get a hold of it from Europa. And that's pretty fucking cool. Like, I personally don't think we as people are gonna be living on these little moons, but that would be a pretty awesome awesome place for us to set like a little base, kind of like a refueling station or something like that, for potential travel to other places and other locations, you know what I mean, that we might discover. Because I personally don't feel like we're gonna be living on this planet forever. Maybe our generation are gonna be living here, you know what I mean? But us as a human race, you know what I mean? I feel like we're going to definitely be traveling the stars, and it's just, we got to get our heads out our ass and start investing money in places that where it could really benefit us in the long run. Because this planet is not going to be able to sustain the growth of humans that we're putting on this, on the planet itself. But back to the moons around Saturn or whatever. The name of the super tiny moon that I was just speaking about, I am going to butcher this name. It is Enceladus. I'm not sure. It's Encladus. However you pronounce it, I'm not quite sure. And the cool thing about it is, it was first observed in August 28th of 1789 is when Sir William Herschel was able to find the moon itself, because that little moon is one of the brightest objects that we've seen so far in space. But it's just, floating around Saturn's ring, so we can't really notice it like that. And the cool thing about these moons that I was speaking about, that Europa, and I'm just gonna call this one Tiny Moon, is that they contribute to the ring that you see around Saturn. You know what I mean? That famous ring that everybody sees. When you think of Saturn, you think of that big ass ring with the water plumes and the geysers and shit. They contribute to having that effect go around that planet. And it's just it's pretty spectacular, my nigga, that we're going to become, that we are taking steps towards potentially sending life out into space to potentially, build settlements and stuff like that out there. And, like I said, I don't think we're going to be living on these moons, but definitely going to be, I feel like they're going to be an outpost of sorts, to like a refueling station or something like that, potentially, to propel us into different locations out there in space. And it's just pretty exciting, my nigga, pretty exciting. And then back to this Europa moon, that the original moon that I was talking about, Europa, with the water plumes. There's an engineer right now who is trying to he invented this technology, right, where you could you go into deep sea cave, like not deep seas, but like deep cave formations and shit like that, and you send these little robots out there. And little is not too small. These things are fucking pretty big. I mean, they're like about a good 4 feet like 4 feet around, And they actually help map some of the deepest caves that we've known to exist on Earth. And they go out there by themselves and they explore it. And, they map it. They let you know where things are at. And it's pretty fucking, they're pretty fucking, it's pretty cool. You know what I mean? But this engineer is trying to work with NASA right now to be able to send his robots that he created. They're trying to downsize them a little bit because it's kind of bulky to be putting on the satellite to go way out there. It takes about 3 to 6 years roughly from what I've been reading. But they're trying to figure out a way for this engineer to make his little robots, these mapping robots, smaller, so he could, they could drill a hole or somehow get their way into the fucking ice core, like the ice shield around Europa, and put these robots in there to navigate and explore and get samples and, potentially look for different life forms. And, I'm not talking about like, you, me, motherfucking like mermaid type things, you know what I'm saying? I'm talking about, they're looking for like little bacteria, you know what I'm saying? Things that spark life, you know what I mean? Things the things that we evolved from, little single-celled organisms that are living and potentially living down in this frozen fucking wasteland that we don't know what the fuck's down there. And it's pretty fucking, I don't know, man. This is kind of stuff that interests me a lot. And then, I got kind of lost in the sauce reading about different space travel and, different technology that we've been inventing recently, and how SpaceX is starting to develop this new Falcon rocket to potentially send people to Mars. And then, they got us some more competition and stuff. And then they came across this other article over here that NASA, and this was 100% approved by Congress already. And by 2020, we're going to have a mission to Mars. I'm pretty fucking stoked about this one. They're going to be sending a rover out there. Everybody knows the rovers. You know what I mean? It's fucking little go-karts. They land on the planet. You know what I mean? We drive them around, fucking pick up samples, dirt samples, run tests, experiments, whatever. You know what I mean? And we're going to be sending one to Mars. But to go off of this little fucking rover we're sending out there, and by little, I'm just bullshitting. It's kind of fucking big. I mean, it's kind of look like the Warhog from fucking Halo. You know what I mean? But to go along with this fucking rover that we're sending out, and this has already got approved by Congress, 100%, this is going to happen. Definitely gonna happen. We're sending a fucking helicopter out there to go along with the fucking rover. And we're going to be able to observe Mars in ways we've never seen before. I mean, yes, we've had motherfucking satellite images and seen how the things look. You know what I mean? And seeing how the potential, the potential landscape. But we've never been able to see Mars ground level, like with a helicopter hovering over it. And this is pretty fucking dope, yo. The helicopter that NASA's planning to send out there with this rover is all of 4 pounds. You know what I mean? And if you look at it, it looks like a fucking box. My nigga, I promise you, it looks just like a fucking box with propellers and 4 little fucking antennas, little stick legs, you know what I mean? That fucking retract in. It looks like a piece of shit. You know what I mean? But, you got to maximize your payload when you're sending things out, that far. And you can't have something that weighs a lot because there's going to be less instruments you can send on the mission, So this thing's just bare minimum. It looks kind of like, for lack of a, I don't have the best description, best descriptive, whatever. But it looks like a box with fucking a couple GoPros stuck onto it. You know what I mean? That's the best way that I could describe it to you guys. But yeah, man, this is 100% gonna be happening, dog. And I'm pretty fucking stoked. It's gonna happen. The next rover mission, the one that I'm talking about right now, is gonna happen July 2020. We're gonna be sending it out there, and there's gonna be they're already developing, the helicopter to go out there in Pasadena, California right now is where they're developing this little helicopter to go along with the rover. Yeah, I mean, to fly around Mars and be able to map the landscape in ways we've never seen before, in ways we've never been able to accomplish by driving around. Because obviously there's cliffs, there's fucking mountain ranges, there's many different obstacles that we can't get to and we can't cross with the fucking rover, And along with the little helicopter that I was speaking about, not only is it going to be flying around and taking some images and pictures and shit like that, it's also going to be taking samples, different dirt samples and stuff like that, and bringing it back to the rover so the rover could run some tests and shit like that. And I honestly feel like this is going to be the wave of the human race in the future. You know what I mean? It's going to be not being on this planet. It's going to be expanding to different planets and being able to potentially, make other planets habitable for us to live on. And Mars is the pie in the sky that everybody wants. Everybody, that you speak to, that talks about space travel and blah blah blah, they always saying, yeah, Mars is where we're going to be, we're going to be living on Mars, blah blah blah. But that's pie in the sky for right now, because Mars has a big problem with the atmosphere, because the sun actually ripped apart the atmosphere in Mars, and there was speculation from what I was reading, that a long time ago, Mars used to be similar to Earth in the sense of like having a good atmosphere and shit like that. And then some crazy catastrophe happened, and the ozone and the atmosphere got ripped off, and it became a desert, just what we see now. It became the red planet after that. After that, whatever catastrophe happened. But obviously, we can't confirm nor deny any of that shit because none of us have been around millions and millions of years ago. And like, we don't, we're not there. We can't it's not like over here where we could like dig up stuff and investigate and, go. We know that dinosaurs are real because we dug holes and we've seen where they are according to where they are, how deep they are into the earth. You know what I mean? But, there's just some speculations that people think that Mars used to be like Earth back in the day. And it's pretty fucking cool, my nigga. Like, this is fucking dope. It's a fucking new age, ladies and gentlemen, man. We're gonna be fucking space traveling pretty soon. And I mean, I know everybody's, worried about their, whatever problems they have going on right now in their current environment and like, work struggles and stress and, all this other bullshit that we might be having, in our daily lives, paying rent, bills, car note, insurance, all this other shit. But we got to think of the positives, my nigga. Like, we got to start looking at how awesome us as people are, that we're able to fucking think about what I just said for the past like 20 minutes, my nigga. We have been able to fucking find different moons on these fucking planets back since in the 1700s. We discovered that these fucking moons in fucking Saturn have water on them. You know what I mean? In 1995, you know what I mean? And man, what a time to fucking be alive, yo. I'm a fucking nerd. I know it, man. I'm a fucking nerd. I love this shit, man. And yeah, so that's kind of like what I kind of been like delving deep into this shit, and just kind of been losing my brain over here and looking at different fucking different investigations that NASA's going to be coming into and stuff like that, because I'm a nerd like that and I like this kind of shit, and yeah, I mean, if anybody wants to look up the Europa mission that I was talking about, it's called the Europa Clipper. You know what I mean? Where we're gonna hopefully, knock on wood, we're gonna be able to fucking send a rover out there with like a satellite out there to try to test the water and shit like that. You know what I mean? And yeah, man, it's pretty fucking dope. And like I was saying, man, I just don't see us being stuck here, like on this planet, for our entire existence of us as a human race. You know what I mean? I definitely don't see us staying here for that much longer. I say within the next, hopefully I'm alive by then, man, because I would love to. I might not be able to be the one to fucking leave the planet, but I would love to see the first wave of fucking settlers leaving to go settle, build a settlement in different parts of the fucking universe. You know what I mean? I know that there's a potential for us to start building on the south pole of our moon. You know what I mean? The moon that we see every night. There's potential for us to be building kind of like a biodome, because obviously we all know that the moon has craters. You know what I mean? If we don't, if you don't know it, you can Google this shit. You know what I mean? Go to fucking, and you can look at them. The earth, the moon has big craters from getting hit with asteroids, and you know what I mean? The moons are fucking, that's the wingman right there. That's the right hand man. Because if it wasn't for the moon, man, we probably all be wiped out with all the asteroids that nigga be getting hit with. You know what I mean? But I was reading another article or whatever that we're trying to develop right now as I'm speaking. We're trying to develop a way for us to build like a biodome over the fucking one of these craters on the south part of the moon, and not just one crater in particular, but just trying to build this biodome over the craters that are connected with like lava tubes, so their vision is we put these bubbles, like these biodomes, over the craters, and we would be able to live on the moon. And I feel like in order for us to be able to really truly, go into space and like, settle and go to different places and, build settlements and like, go all over the universe doing this kind of stuff, we have to start small. You know what I mean? Like I said, Mars is pie in the sky right now. That's the dream that a lot of people I read and I speak to and I've read about, that's what they want is Mars. But we got to start small. And from what I was reading, that's the move right there. They're trying to develop like a biodome to put over these craters to potentially shield us from the radiation of the sun. Because, when you're in space, my nigga, the thing that keeps us alive over here on the Earth is our atmosphere and our ozone that keeps all that fucking radiation from really fucking destroying us. When you're on the moon and you're in space, you don't got that protection. You know what I mean? And that's what they're trying to develop right now, is a way to fucking build that to keep us safe. And they're also saying that, like, with these bubbles or whatever, that even if it just so happens to catch a little break in it, this is obviously not confirmed, you know what I mean? They're still working out the kinks. But they're saying that even if it catches a crack in it or a little break, it's not going to be terrible because they will be able to, the air is going to be leaking out of it so slowly that they'll be able to patch it up and fix it beforehand. And, hey, hopefully, some cool shit like that does come about. You know what I mean? I know I wouldn't mind being one of the first people to, I wouldn't mind being one of the first settlers on the moon. You know what I mean? I personally wouldn't mind that. But, I'm a fucking psychopath that fucking jumps out of planes. You know what I mean? At least that's what everybody else tells me. You know what I mean? Word. Man, but, back to these moons, man. I'm sorry. I'm just jumping around. I'm just nerding out right now. You know what I mean? I'm just fucking, I'm getting my nerd on. But, so the tiny moon, because I can't pronounce his name, on the South Pole, where they say potentially they might be able to sustain life because it's like the quote unquote hot spot, the warm area of that moon. There's about 100 geysers on the south pole of that moon that directly contributes to the appearance and the look of that ring that goes around Saturn. That is like one of the key quintessential things that make that ring look the way it does. Those geysers coming out of there. And that's fucking pretty dope. And then as of from between 2014 and 2016, the Hubble telescope, I'm not sure if anybody knows what the Hubble telescope is. I'm pretty sure we all do, but just in case we don't, super powered fucking satellite telescope that we have floating in space right now that literally could see to the end of what we know as the universe. And we could fucking see damn near everything because of this fucking telescope. You know what I mean? In 2014, between 2014 and 16, this is what really found the plumes on Europa, was the Hubble telescope in between that time frame right there. And they feel like the quote unquote hot spot of activities of these water plumes is around the equator, around the equator of the moon, of Europa's moon. It's about 200 miles wide, kind of like a sweet spot of where if they do send this satellite mission out there, we got to get this one passed by Congress. Because, it's not like the rover helicopter mission that's going to Mars already. That one already got approved. We definitely seen that one. If this one gets approved, and if this one does go, you know what I mean, it's going to be heading towards this direction right here. And, man, I'm really hoping that we can fucking do this, man. Because I would love to see the images of this planet, of this moon. I would love to see it, man. Kind of like the images of Titan. And Titan is another moon that surrounds Saturn to accompany, the Europa and the tiny moon. And I believe there's one more moon out there. I just haven't done any research on that other moon that's surrounding Saturn, because back in 2005, I believe, there was a mission to go land on Titan. It was the, I'm going to butcher this name, Huygens, Huygens. I'm not sure exactly how to pronounce that, but until January 14th, 2005, it landed on Titan. And, it was able to test, the atmosphere. It was a atmospheric entry probe. And, it was just a test, like the atmosphere, get different readings of the moon and stuff like that, get different, measurements and shit like that. So we could know more or less what we're dealing with if we was to just so happen to cross that moon. You know what I mean? And the images, it was beautiful, my nigga. Because if you look at them, it looks like a riverbed. It looks like a dry riverbed. it was a beautiful thing, my nigga, and it was red. And I don't know if it was red due to the fact that, like, it's like the camera, or like it's actually red over there, but it looked kind of like Mars, on some shit. You know what I mean? And it's crazy because like the atmosphere is mostly made out of methane. Because this mission, this expedition, was headed by the European Space Agency, which is like the European version of NASA, if you couldn't tell by the name. You know what I mean? And it was a joint mission between NASA and the ESA. And NASA was sending the Cassini probe out there, and the probe that landed on the Huygens probe that landed on Titan was piggybacking off of the Cassini. I don't fucking know. It was piggybacking off of that to make it over there. When it landed over there, it took them a little while to get their readings, because they were nervous, because when they had it projected to be about 3 minutes it was going to take for the probe to send them the information after it landed. And upon entry to the moon, it took a lot longer to land on solid ground before, like it took the probe longer to go through the atmosphere and land than they anticipated. And then it didn't send the information right away. Like, not obviously we wouldn't get it right away because, you got to go through satellites, blah, blah, blah. But we didn't get the information as soon as we thought it was going to happen of what was going on. So it took them, I believe it was about 7 minutes after the initial time that they thought it was going to be in by. And, people had their heads down. They thought that they wasted a bunch of money. Thought that, damn, we just fucked up our fucking, on this probe to, to get all these readings and shit like that. And then I believe it was 5 to 7 minutes after the projected time, everybody's screen just started lighting up. All the readings, the temperature of the fucking moon, the atmospheric pressure, and fucking, that's how we found out that it's mainly methane in the atmosphere and all over the moon and stuff like that. You know what I mean? And it's pretty fucking crazy, my nigga. Like, this shit, it is. Oh, let me look this up real quick. It is negative 290 degrees Fahrenheit over there. That is insane, That is so fucking cold, my nigga. Forget about it. But that's a beautiful thing, my nigga, about going out and discovering these fucking different moons and different planets and different things that potentially we could fucking land on someday, and potentially we could do something with. You know what I mean? It's fucking beautiful. It's a beautiful thing, my nigga. It's a beautiful life that we live in right now. It's a beautiful age, a beautiful time, to be looking at this. The biggest downfall that we do have, I feel like, is a lot of people, living in cities and shit like that, and anywhere with a lot of light, with a lot of light, doesn't really get to really experience and see the beauty of stars and how the night sky looks, bro. I'll tell you, man, that night sky, my nigga, it is one of the most beautifulest things you can see when you're just out there, man. You fucking laying down, ain't nothing but darkness around you. And you look up and you see everything for miles, You see every star. You can see any planet that's in your, that you're able to see in that range, depending on where we are positioned at that time. Yeah, I mean, it's a beautiful thing, my nigga. And that's something that I really feel like we are lost in touch with. Obviously as we develop, become more sophisticated, have more electricity, whatever, more lights, this, that, and the third. There's one thing that I really do feel like we kind of missing out is the natural beauty of our surroundings. You know what I mean? Because, man, that night sky, bro, I go to my homie's house from time to time, man, and, he lives in the middle of the woods. He lives, like, in the middle of nowhere. This motherfucker got all the land in the world. All right, not that much land, but he got a fuck ton of land, And, man, it's a fucking night and day difference between when I'm at my house over here and I look up and, I might see, like, Orion's Belt or like the Little Dipper, you know what I mean? But like when you go to his house in his backyard, my nigga, you see every star, every movement. Man, it's a beautiful thing. And I really encourage anybody, who lives in a city and, has all that light pollution around them and stuff like that. I really do encourage you to just take a trip sometime, go somewhere where you don't see a lot of lights, you know what I mean? And just look up. It is not going to cost you anything. It's cheap. It ain't going to cost you a dime, except for you, that experience you're going to have, man, that view you're going to see, it's priceless, my nigga. It's priceless. I promise you that, man. So, on a side note also, I was just over here, another one of the things I was looking into when I took this week off of doing the podcast, so I could do a little more research into like space travel and like the potential of us actually leaving the planet as as humans and potentially living in space. You know what I mean? Everybody knows about SpaceX, you know what I mean? Fucking Elon Musk, that fucking psychopath sending his fucking Tesla out there. They could go on to Mars, nigga missed, you know what I mean? Put a fucking quote unquote astronaut on that motherfucker, man. Everybody knows about SpaceX, you know what I mean? And his, Elon Musk's goal is to put a couple million people on Mars, and they're working on that Falcon Heavy. That's the name of the rocket. That's the one that we've seen. I don't know if anybody else seen it, but if you haven't, go to YouTube, check it out. It's pretty fucking dope. It launches, it's a rocket, goes into space, and then it comes back down to Earth and lands itself. You know what I mean? And it's fucking crazy though. It's fucking nuts because, back in the day when we used to send rockets to space, we would have the fucking booster, send them out to orbit, and then the booster falls off and it just floats around the globe. And if we can go to space right now, you could see that there's a bunch of garbage that's just floating around our planet right now from all the rockets and shit that we just launched out there and just, let it fucking float around because we have nothing else. We can't do nothing else with it. But Elon Musk discovered, he discovers the wrong word, but he invented this new rocket. It's a booster that pushes you into orbit and it comes back down and lands. Everybody knows about that, and if you don't, like I said, look up the video. It's pretty fucking cool. It looks fake as fuck. His shit looks like it was photoshopped. It looked like motherfucking I don't know, my nigga. It just looks like some video game shit, the way it fucking takes off and lands. But not too many people that I know of anyway knows about this other company named Blue Origin. Blue Origin is big shocker, owned by this nigga Jeff Bezos. If you don't know who Jeff Bezos is, that nigga fucking is the richest motherfucker on the planet. He's the fucking head FBI guy. Fucking owns Amazon. Fucking this motherfucker got so much money, he doesn't know what the fuck to do with his life, man. I swear to God, this nigga's fucking, it's ridiculous how much money that guy got. But, this is his company, Blue Origin, and their goal, their mission, and this was something that he's been saying for years. I'm not talking about like 5 years or 10 years. Since he was in high school, he's been saying he wants to put millions of people on the fucking in space, living and working and farming and mining and, manufacturing up in space. Because apparently, from shit that I've been reading, if we could get manufacturing done in space, it can be done a lot faster, a lot cheaper, and a lot safer. Because you have little gravity to deal with. You know what I'm saying? You have zero gravity in space itself. And if we could put it on the moon, you have 1/6 of the Earth's gravity, which can make us produce things a lot faster and a lot cheaper. If we could do that. You know what I mean? That's a big if. If we could do that. But, like I said, this dude, Jeff Bezos, he's working on his own rocket right now. The thing is, you don't hear about these guys because they're not flashy. They're not in the news as much. You know what I mean? They're not out there trying to, wowing for the camera. You know what I mean? They're real meticulous from what I've been reading and from what I understand of this company. They're real meticulous, real slow. They take their time and they're just making sure that what they're doing is right every step of the way. They want to fucking make sure that shit's perfect and then move on to the next step. And, pretty fucking dope. So the rocket that he's making right now is called the New Glenn, and it's a lot bigger than that Falcon Heavy. But this rocket right here, supposedly it does a similar thing. You know what I mean, with taking off and landing. You know what I mean? It's gonna be running on not on a hydrogen, from what I'm seeing right here. Hold on. Yeah, it's going to be running on the hydrogen. When it gets into space, it's going to be moving off of hydrogen. Yeah, I mean, obviously, it's still going to be burning fucking, natural gas to get the fuck up off the Earth, out of the fucking out of our atmosphere and shit like that. But apparently there's this company right here is extremely close to be getting us to leave the planet. You know what I mean? To be able to help, build settlements on the motherfucking moon. And this is one of the companies that I was speaking about earlier, who's starting to develop the like that biodome thing that I was talking about on the moon. And man, I really hope that they pull it off, because what a fucking day, man. That would be fucking spectacular, my nigga, if they could really do this. And I mean, it's funny because, from when I was reading these articles and shit like that, they were saying that this is like the new space race. Yeah, I mean, who's going to get to space first? Is it going to be, Elon Musk with SpaceX, or is it going to be Jeff Bezos and, his company Blue Origin? And, we are, because what's his face from Virgin Mobile? I forgot his name. But he can bring you to quote unquote space. You know what I mean? You could pay to go up there, cost a fuck ton of money. But you don't really go into space per se. You know what I mean? You're still in the Earth's orbit. You know what I mean? When you go on his thing, but he has a company too that brings you up there and stuff like that. And, but that's not like space. That's not outer space, because you're still within the Earth's orbit. You're in low Earth gravity or some shit like that. I forget how the fuck it's pronounced, man. I'm no fucking scientist, motherfucker. I'm just a fucking warehouse worker, dog. You know what I mean? I'm just a regular guy like everybody else. Ain't nothing too fancy about it. You know what I mean? But yeah, man. So that's pretty fucking dope. It would be nice if these two companies could just work together and try to get, unified and fucking pull their resources together, bro. Pull these two fucking brilliant minds together, man. Put them to work and have them fucking start getting shit rocking so we can fucking start living on the moon, man. Because, that's where I feel like the first step's going to be for us, as people. It's going to be living on the moon. I mean, once we could get people on the moon and station there, and, we could settle that place, and we can see the effects, because that's the big caveat. We don't know how zero gravity is going to affect us long term, or like very low gravity is going to affect us long term. We know that, we fucking, when you go into space, if you're up there for a long time, you get your cells mutate and shit like that, because I forgot the name of that astronaut who was in space for a whole year. He came back to Earth. He was about 2 inches taller. Crazy shit. He was fucking 2 inches taller than his twin brother. And his cells mutated. Not like fucking mutated like he got fucking Cyclops eyes or motherfucking, I mean? He ain't Mr. Fantastic or nothing like that, But, his cells, like his DNA is different than his twin brothers, because he was in space for a full calendar year. But we don't know the effects of us living in space and living in, little to no gravity. And that's going to be the big caveat, you know what I mean? And that's the one thing that's going to probably trip some people out. But I know it wouldn't really affect me personally too much, because I would be down for the cause, man. Like, I would be down to be fucking, just let me be one of those guinea pigs, bro. Because the one thing about me personally, man, I would love to see life in its entirety. You know what I mean? I don't want to regret shit. You know what I mean? And if there's a potential of me being able to go to space and seeing that and seeing the image, it got to be the most beautiful thing in the world, man. I'm sorry to get sidetracked, but these motherfuckers who are on the ISS and the International Space Station right now, looking down on the fucking globe, what a fucking view that must be. I mean, yeah, we could see pictures, we could see motherfucking, satellite images and shit like that. But to be able to sit there and look at it yourself with your own eyes when you're experiencing that, it gotta be fucking crazy. That gotta be way the fucking crazy, way the fuck out of here, son. Oh my God. Yeah, man. I'm pumped about this, man. Cause like I said, so, get back, I'm sorry, man. I was getting sidetracked. I'm going left, right, up, down, left, right. You know what I mean? It's like the Konami code from back in the day. You know what I mean? But, yeah, I just feel like this is definitely the step that I feel like we should be doing. Definitely feel like we should start investing a little more money and a little more time into exploring outer space and exploring the potential of us leaving this planet and leaving, and exploring and, building settlements in different locations. And by locations, I mean like different planets, different moons that could maybe sustain life. Maybe, I don't want to say colonize, man, because that word's just, it's a loaded fucking word, and it's just a loaded word. I don't really want to use that word, but it's for us to be able to go and be settlers on different planets and potentially even see different life on different planets. I mean, different, like aliens and shit like that. And I don't mean like motherfucking, like fucking Independence Day aliens, but I'm talking about different life forms that would be alien to us because they don't live on this planet. So anything not from this planet is an alien. You know what I mean? And for us, oh man, what a time that would be, if we can fucking legit go to we can legit live on Mars. Maybe there's another. I know there was they call this planet Earth 2. The Super Earth, I believe, is the nickname of this planet. It's about 40 light years away, and it's supposedly just like Earth, but 2 times bigger. I mean, obviously they can't tell if it's exactly like Earth. They say the potential of waters being there. They see that it's green and blue, whatever. And but we really can't tell because it's 40 light years away. It's just one of those things that the Hubble telescope showed us when we was out there looking and shit, And man, what if we could make it there? What if, we could build a refueling station on the tiny moon of Saturn or on Europa or on both? As a refueling station to get us from Earth, to over there, refuel, and then head out to that fucking, to another planet. You know what I mean? Where we could fucking live. Oh man, that would be amazing. That would be one of the most dopest things that I think we would ever be able to do as a race, as humans, if we can get off this fucking Earth and live in other places, God, that'd be fucking crazy. You know what I mean? But yeah, man, this is just, I just been nerding out for the past couple weeks, just looking into this kind of stuff. And I'm sorry if I sounded like a little bit of a fanboy and shit like that. This is something that really interests me and shit like that. And, if any other developments come up from this projects that I was talking about, I'll be sure to fucking let you guys know about it again. I'll fucking put the info out there. If anybody is intrigued or curious to know more about it, man, I really do encourage any and everybody to look into this kind of stuff, man, because this is some shit that I really feel like we should be getting into. We should really get behind fucking NASA looking at this stuff and helping fucking all these other agencies out to try to get us off this planet, man, because that's definitely the future. We're fucking running this planet dry, man. We're fucking killing this motherfucker, man. We're fucking using and abusing. It's time for us to go and explore, man. But yeah, on that note, man, I think I'm going to sign off right now. I'm sorry if this ain't like the typical, hour-long podcast. I'm still kind of, I'm a little don't know how to fucking go about, being able to fill the whole time slot, but I'm just going to go as far as the information that I got can take me, and hopefully, if anybody's more intrigued about anything I said, if you have any questions, you could hit me up on social media. You can hit me up on Instagram at Corona's Corner. You can hit me up on Twitter, same name, at Corona's Corner. You can hit me up on Facebook. I got a Facebook page over there. It's called Corona's Corner. You know what I mean? I encourage, if anybody wants to communicate, potentially be on the podcast as a guest, and we could talk about something that you might be intrigued about. If you want to come down to the Corona's Corner studio, you're more than welcome, man. And, as of right now, you could actually find my podcast on Stitcher, iTunes. It's going to be on Spotify in a couple weeks. It's already on Google Play. It's on TuneIn Radio and damn near any other place that you could get your podcast at and you could listen to podcasts. My podcast should be there. Corona's Corner should be there, with the exception of Spotify, because they're working on they're doing some maintenance on their podcasting side of their fucking company or whatever. But yeah, you know, if you enjoy what you hear, if you enjoy what I do, please, you know, like, subscribe to it. You know what I mean? Rate me 5 stars. You know, give a comment. Let me know what you think about the podcast. If you want to get a hold of me on any social media and let me know any ideas that you might have, you know, I'm more than willing to listen. And if you have something that you feel like you would like me to talk about, that you would like me to do a little bit of research in so I can communicate and give you my point of views, or if you want to come into the studio sometime and talk about some stuff and you want to give your point of views across so other people can hear you, you're more than welcome to, man. Just get at me on any one of these social media sites. You know what I mean? And that's about it, man. You know, if hopefully we do this, man. Hopefully we go to space, bro. Yeah, you know I mean, we fucking start building settlements out there, man. I'm really encouraged about that Mars mission, yo. Straight up. That Mars helicopter mission, man. I can't wait for the images to come down. That's gonna be fucking beautiful when the images come down in 2020 and shit. After that helicopter starts flying around, and man, it's a great day to be alive, man. On that note, man, that's it for this episode of Corona's Corner, man. Love, peace, and chicken grease, man. We out.